If Phantom doesn't make it through the next 6 minutes, not a single member of SEAL Team 5 will be coming back. You're watching Stories Unseen, where every mission is a fight for survival. Where are you tuning in from? Drop a comment and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter. Maddox lowered his binoculars, the corner of his mouth curling into a mocking grin. One female sniper, 1 6-kilogram rifle, and a forest full of men just waiting to pull the trigger. He tilted his head toward his exec and muttered, 1 against 14. She'll be the first one down. 6 minutes later, 14 bodies lay still in the Khorava forest, and Maddox had nothing left to say. Kaela Phantom Renner. 28, lean, compact, built like a veteran cross-country racer. Long brown hair always tied back tight so it never broke her sight picture. Sharp features, sun-warmed skin, full lips that rarely smiled. But it was her eyes that stopped people cold. A pure glacial blue like ice sealing a winter lake. Through a scope. Those eyes didn't just hunt for targets, they cut through camouflage and hundreds of meters of distance, reading every twitch, every hint of movement. 2 teammates. They were the eyes of someone born to snipe. To her enemies, they were the last thing they'd ever see. Kaela grew up in the wilderness of northern Alaska, over 50 miles from the nearest town. Her father, Jonas Renner, a former Army Ranger and legendary sniper, had survived 3 combat tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. Not just on skill, but on patience and the ability to read a battlefield like an open book. He taught Kaela to shoot before she could read, in winter. They tracked caribou for miles through blizzards. In summer, they hunted bear in marshland where every step could hide a trap. Jonas always said anybody can shoot straight when everything's perfect. A real sniper hits when the weather, the terrain, and even fate are against you. After graduating from the University of Alaska Fairbanks with a degree in wilderness studies, Kaela joined the military. Her training records showed near-perfect accuracy at all ranges from 300 meters to well over a kilometer. She could calculate wind, humidity, and bullet drop without instruments. Her greatest asset wasn't her aim. It was her mental stillness. Even when a target appeared for only seconds, her heartbeat never spiked. Despite serving with the 75th Ranger Regiment and other special operations units, Kaela was often relegated to support roles, rarely put on the front line. Some male commanders mistook her composure for hesitation, forgetting that, in the sniper's world, 1 second of hesitation could save a teammate's life, or end it. Commander Maddox, leader of SEAL Team 5, was one of them. With 18 years in combat and 3 Bronze Stars, Maddox believed the victory came from overwhelming firepower and aggression. To him, a sniper was just an extra set of eyes on the battlefield, never the decisive blade. When Operation Iron Veil came down, Maddox assigned Kaela to an overwatch position more than 800 meters from the target, ordered to fire only if the enemy tried to flee. She studied the terrain and proposed a ridgeline that covered both the approach route and the escape paths, but Maddox cut her off. Renner, this isn't a drill. You'll stay where I put you. Kaela didn't argue. She simply ran the alternative plan in her head, because deep in those ice-blue eyes was something Maddox didn't see when the time came. Phantom would move on her own terms. A satellite map stretched across the folding table in the dim glow of the red tent light. Hard lines cut across the faces of SEAL Team 5 as they studied the target, a mud-walled compound in the deep green mountains of eastern Afghanistan. The mission seemed simple: eliminate a high-value target. The terrorist leader behind multiple attacks on coalition forces, along with his council, intel claimed he had only about 20 loyal fighters. Kaela Phantom Renner didn't believe it. She'd pored over every satellite image and intel note for 2 nights straight. To most eyes, it was just thick jungle. To someone raised in Alaska's wild, every gap in the canopy, every faint trail told a story. She spotted signs of man-made paths, grass worn flat, moss scraped away, branches broken at angles wind couldn't make, certain patches of trees trimmed too neatly, perfect for hidden firing positions, and fresh, dark mounds of dirt. possible weapons caches, or fighting pits. Her conclusion, at least 30 fighters, split into teams, ready to turn any assault force into moving targets. Maddox jabbed a finger at a spot more than 800 meters from the objective. Renner, this is your overwatch. Observe only fire if the HVT bolts. We'll handle the rest. Kaela looked up from the map. Sir, if I take the western ridgeline, I can cover the approach and both exits. It's a lot safer for the team. Maddox stared a beat too long. Renner, I was running ops before you even knew what a sniper was. You'll hold the position I gave you? Clear, clear, sir. Her voice was flat, eyes still as winter water. In her head, she filed every detail for her own contingency plan. Night fell, turning the Khorava highlands into a maze of shadow and wind. No moon, no stars, just a white curtain of mist. SEAL Team 5 moved in total silence, boots swallowed by rotting leaves, steps short and low, rifles ready. Kaela broke off early toward her assigned post, flowing through the terrain, using every rock and tree for cover. Each stop, she listened, leaf rustle, the forest's heartbeat, and the stray sounds only a lifetime outdoors could pick out. At her position, she dropped the bipod, adjusted the scope. The compound took shape: mud walls, wooden fence, anti-vehicle trenches, guards pacing lazily, like nothing was wrong. But Kaela saw more. Outside the fence, shadows darker than the night itself. A shift of weight here, a hand on a rifle grip there. Farther out, an antenna disguised as a dead branch. Freshly dug sniper pits in perfect kill zones. She keyed her radio: multiple hidden positions outside the perimeter. Enemy strength higher than expected. Maddox's reply was flat copy. Maintain watch. We're moving in 3 minutes. She swept her sector again, from here. She could see but not cover the team if they were hit from certain angles. That western ridge still sat there, silent, the answer she knew they'd need. Through her scope, she watched SEAL Team 5 close in on the fence, and at that same moment, in the mist off their right flank, the shadows began to move fast. Kaela's finger tightened on the trigger. She knew Maddox's confidence was about to meet the Khorava forest's cold truth. Through her scope, Kaela Phantom Renner caught every subtle movement. 3 figures crawled over a layer of dry leaves, closing in from the northeast to the west. At least 5 more gunmen slipped between leaning trunks, each step syncing perfectly with a U-shaped suppression formation, a textbook trap designed to lock prey inside a kill zone. She pressed the radio. Maddox. Phantom, 14 hostiles closing in on the team, 2 flanks nearly sealing the retreat route. The reply came back flat and dry. Phantom, maintain position. We see no immediate threat. Don't break radio discipline. Kaela narrowed her eyes, gripping the stock tighter. She'd seen this scenario 100 times in training diagrams, only this time it was real. Gunfire erupted from both sides of the forest at once. Tracers cut red lines through the mist, tearing up the ground around SEAL Team 5. Maddox and his men dove for cover, but the open stretch between them and the compound was pure kill zone, no natural cover, no chance to cross without bleeding for it. Her comms burst alive with shouting and weapons fire. Contact, contact. Northeast and southwest. Taking suppressive fire, Kaela swung her scope, counting fast 14 targets, all in dominant positions, firing down on the SEALs from high ground or hard cover. From here, she could only neutralize 2, maybe 3, not enough to turn the fight. She pulled one ear cup free, slid the rifle onto its sling, and sank low, leaving the overwatch, 60 pounds of rifle and ammo pressed into her shoulder. But she moved as if the pack were empty. Every step was placed with care, no snapping twigs, no loose stones. Her goal, the western ridgeline, where she'd have full coverage of the kill zone and the enemy's likely reinforcement routes. But to reach it, she had to cross a narrow gully where gusts howled hard enough to push her offline. She clung to rock faces, climbing meter by meter, right hand finding cracks, left arm hugging the rifle's frame. When the wind roared, she flattened against the stone, waiting it out in her head. She counted Maddox's team had maybe 90 seconds before the first casualty. At the top, Kaela dropped prone, kicked out the bipod, and cranked her scope to maximum. She drew a deep breath, glacier blue eyes slicing across the battlefield. From here, the picture was clear. 4 hostiles pushing on the SEAL's left flank, using large trunks for cover. A 3-man team with a heavy machine gun entrenched on high ground, laying down constant suppressive fire. 2 enemy snipers deeper in the tree line, scopes locked on the SEAL medic, the rest holding the escape routes shut. Kaela pulled the M2010 ESR snug into her shoulder, flipped the safety. Memories of hunting caribou with her father flooded back. Keep the heart steady. Control the breath. Squeeze the trigger like you're playing the perfect note on a flute. The radio cracked again. Phantom. Hold position. We'll break out ourselves. Kaela didn't answer. She'd already set her kill order. Enemy commander. Heavy gunner. Enemy snipers. Then the infantry. Cut the head first, the body follows. Target 1, the commander was gesturing, barking orders into a radio. Range 612 meters. Wind shift 7 to 9 km/h. 2 tree trunks blocked most of him, but a narrow lane was open. She exhaled halfway, locked her chest, and squeezed. The shot cracked, threading leaves and striking center mass. He collapsed, radio tumbling from his hand, chaos spilling into the enemy's comms. She swung to the heavy gun. 3 seconds later, the gunner slumped across the receiver, blocking the man behind him. Suppressive fire dropped instantly. The SEALs shifted position. On the ground, Maddox looked up, confusion flickering in his eyes. Kaela's voice came calm over the net. "Keep your heads down. Wait for my signal. I'm clearing the way." Before the last echo of the heavy gun faded, Kaela's third shot rang out. An enemy sniper, nearly invisible in the canopy, jerked and went limp, her round slipping through a hand-sized gap between 2 rocks. No time to resight. She pivoted south, spotting 2 riflemen crawling low toward the SEAL's right flank. A double tap, 2 rounds so close they blurred, dropped them both. The enemy began to unravel. Orders cut off mid-shout, footsteps scattering, but Kaela had already mapped their routes. 1 broke cover. Trying to swing around the compound, her 6th shot put him face down in the damp earth. She shifted west. 2 more running zigzag across open ground, hoping to break her aim. She led them by half a torso, firing at the moment she'd predicted. Shots 7 and 8 landed. Both fell almost together. 3 members of the enemy support team huddled to form a defensive ring, but when 2 heads popped up, shots 9 and 10 put them down. The last man froze in place, in the kill zone. Maddox signaled his team forward, his voice over comms no longer rigid phantom. "Keep going, we're advancing." A flash from the northern tree line, enemy sniper firing, the round shaved air above the SEAL medic's helmet. Kaela had already marked that glint, waiting for the shot to lock the position. Round 11 through leaves and branches ended the threat instantly. 1 hostile left, crouched behind a fallen trunk, forming near-perfect cover against most angles. He was untouchable except from Kaela's. She narrowed her reticle to a 6-centimeter gap, wind shifting hard left, a half-click adjustment, deep breath, trigger squeeze, shot 14 cracked. He slumped sideways, rifle falling, ambush over. Kaela checked her watch from first trigger pull to last 6 minutes. 14 targets down, SEAL Team 5 intact. Below, Maddox and his men crossed the kill zone toward their next assault point. His voice in her ear. This time, low but clear, phantom. All clear, all clear. Path is open. The team had braced for a blood-soaked fight. Instead, they'd watched the enemy collapse piece by piece, too fast to react. 1 operator whispered over the net like someone's just plucking pieces off the board. Kaela stayed put, sweeping for stragglers. Only when the field was truly clean did she pack the rifle, slide down the slope, and rejoin the team. From across the clearing, Maddox watched her approach. The look in his eyes now was nothing like the one he'd worn over the map table. No doubt only awe, and, maybe, a hint of respect. The assault on the compound ended faster than anyone expected. By the time SEAL Team 5 breached, the defending force had completely collapsed. The HVT and his 2 lieutenants were eliminated after only a few short bursts of gunfire. Kaela stayed in her support position, eyes sweeping the perimeter. No more shots were fired. Everything that needed to end had ended 6 minutes earlier. The rotor wash hit her face as the Team exfiltrated to the landing zone. Maddox stepped aboard first, followed by the rest of the team. Kaela came last, rifle still slung, pausing for a heartbeat to scan the horizon before taking her seat on the bench. Inside the cabin, the engine's roar drowned out everything else. Maddox sat across from her, peering at her through the haze of dust. "Phantom, I owe you an apology. 14 targets, 6 minutes, under conditions that would break seasoned snipers. You saved my whole team." Kaela's reply was calm. "Just doing my job. Sir, no, Renner, that was more than a job." Days later, the Operation Iron Veil report went straight to Naval Special Warfare Group. The section describing Kaela's sniper support was tagged as a case study, an example for training snipers to operate in complex ambush environments. Commanders who read it shook their heads in disbelief. Some demanded to review helmet cam and telemetry data. Once the facts were confirmed, the phrase "the Phantom Effect" began to spread. From that day forward, Maddox became Kaela's strongest advocate in tactical briefings. He would often say, "If you want to understand what a good sniper can do, watch Phantom work. She doesn't just shoot. She controls the entire battlefield." 6 months later, Kaela was promoted to Sergeant First Class SFC in the Army, a leap even veteran teammates respected. Her performance in Iron Veil made her the most referenced name in Naval Special Warfare Group's tactical discussions. From there, an official invitation arrived: join the Elite Sniper Training Program, teaching SEALs, Rangers, and Joint Special Operations Forces. During a Q&A with new recruits, one asked, "Ma'am, what's the most important thing for a sniper?" Kaela smiled. "Not the rifle, not the shot. It's staying calm when everything around you wants you to panic." Then she added, "And never let anyone define your limits, except you."